Hello everyone, I'm Phoenix Tremayne, and today I'm going to give you a Days of Lives daily recap from Monday, April the 19th. But first, if you haven't done so, please take a minute to subscribe. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Please hit that like button, because every time you hit that like button, it lets YouTube know it's a good channel for soap fans, so you can come on over and be part of our soap fam. Also, we have a membership where you get exclusive videos, early access to videos, you get spoilers up to a week in advance, so we're talking about the week of the 19th spoilers today, but the soap fam, they've already got next week's spoilers, so it's good to be a member. I also give shout outs to members in my weekly spoiler videos. One of our members who rejoined, who's normally in the list, Tracy Gregg, I missed her name because she signed back up after I had already made the videos. So I want to say thank you, Tracy Gregg, for being a member. I said in the comment section that I will go ahead and give you a shout out in my next video. So there you go. So this was actually a good and bad episode because the parts with Jan and what happened to Charlie, all of that don't make no sense. So we're going to get the good stuff out the way. Now, this ain't necessarily good stuff yet, but Allie and Trip have a little bit of chemistry as they touching hands trying to pick up the pacifier off the floor, and he's got to go because he has this dinner with Steve and Kayla now that he's moving back into their place. Claire is shocked to learn about the deal Belle made with Jan to keep John out of jail, and so now Claire's mad at her mother and calling her and trying to get through to her, but she can't get through to Belle because Belle is in hot water because now they think that she's the one that got rid of Charlie. Allie and Trip got teased. Allie got teased by Claire when she realizes that Allie is developing feelings for Trip. And Steve teased Trip when he realized he had feelings for Allie as well. So they had some gentle teasing. But I'm still waiting for the love triangle because the spring preview said that there was going to be a love triangle that's going to come between Allie and Trip. So we don't have a lot of available guys in the cast. So I'm curious about who this mysterious third person is going to be. Especially since, Theo's leaving town, probably back to Africa, probably with Sierra next week. So, yeah. Let me see. Trip ring, and this is the part that I liked because one of the things fans have been begging for, one of the things that fans really miss, is those nice, sweet, innocent family moments that we used to have all the time on soaps in the 80s and in the early 90s before it became, before soaps started getting canceled. And so soaps began doing more plot-driven, shocking things to just try to just keep eyes and get more eyes on the show. And they sort of moved away from having those family dinners and those lighthearted moments, the girlfriends getting together, because that slows the show down. And pretty much like Days is up and all. And so people are pretty desperate to make sure Days stays alive. So that's why Kristen has all these crazy masks and people constantly getting kidnapped and things like that, because those things do bring up the ratings. But they've gotten too repetitive. But they do bring up the ratings. So this moment where Trip brings Kayla her favorite clam chowder and apple pie, and her and Steve got him a doctor's coat for his internship he's starting, because they're probably going to you're going to blink and Trip's going to be a doctor. Because you know how they do. They're not going to wait 8 to 10 years for Trip to actually be a doctor. It's going to be like, hopefully the show's still on next year. He'll be like a doctor in training. Like they did for TJ over on General Hospital. Steve and Trip had another heartwarming exchange when he revealed that he's changed his name to Johnson. And Steve was like, even either crying or about to cry, and gave him a big old hug. And you know, it was just such a heartwarming moment. They talked about how Trip, you know, how they first met Trip, and he had an abusive father, and his adopted mother died early, and then they had to deal with Ava, and now, you know, after what he did to Kayla, now they've come full circle where everybody's shiny, happy people, and he's really feeling like, you know, Steve's son now, and they know he didn't do no Nally. So that was a very nice, heartwarming moment. Melinda Trask forces Rafe to arrest Belle as she overhears them talking about Belle and the button. And I don't really like the way Melinda Trask is written. I have not liked the way Melinda Trask has been written ever. So her forceful, you know, lock her up, you know, I can understand why she would say that. Hey guys, I'm back. My battery died on my camera, so I don't want to start over because I felt I was doing a good video, and so now I'm gonna get. I think where I left off for the camera cut off, I was just saying I didn't like the way Melinda Trask was being portrayed as far as like stopping at nothing to arrest Belle without really even asking questions. Well, she asked questions like her alibi, whatever, but she's just written so abrasive. And I feel like they've never known what to do with Melinda Trask, even when she was flirting with Stefan back when she was first introduced, and nothing ever seemed to go anywhere. They can't seem to get momentum with the Asian characters on the show, but hopefully they'll fix that now that Paulina wants to diversify the Salem Square. But anyway, that happened. And John goes is under hypnosis. Says he saw Belle is the one who did it to Charlie, which Marlena recorded. And then Jan appears, and she tries to get John and Marlena say that they're glad that Charlie's gone, but they really don't have time for her. They kind of tell her to leave. And then Marlena puts the confession in the desk, which makes no sense to me. Like, your husband confessed, and you're going to put the recording in your desk instead of taking it with you. Not your husband confessed, but your husband said that he saw your daughter get rid of Charlie, and you're going to leave that in the hospital. And I would erase it. I'd be the kind of parent to be like, no, we're going to have to delete this. I know what you said. You know what you said, but we need to talk to Belle, and this record needs to be erased. Because what did Jan do? She came right in. Jimmy did the desk open and was like, oh, let's see what y'all were talking about. And she starts listening to it. And here John says that he didn't see Belle's face, but he thinks Belle is the one who did it because of the red coat. Then Jan flashes back to being the one in the red coat and getting rid of Charlie, saying as they did in the storyline, in the promo when the story first started, it said, sorry, Charlie, and that is exactly what she says. She says, sorry, Charlie, and the show goes off. Now, this brings about a lot of questions that I'm sure fans are going to be very interested in knowing. Like, when did Jan wake up from her coma? How did Jan get the coat? How did Jan know to get the coat and plant the button? Did she always know that she was going to do this? Was this really premeditated? Belle was wearing a coat that day, so did she escape the hospital, go steal Belle's coat, leave a button behind after getting rid of Charlie, and then going back to the hospital and pretending she's in a coma? And no nurse noticed that she had left her room? Okay. So, what I don't like about this story is that in the spring preview, Ron said that he was going to concoct a murder mystery that we could follow and figure out. I write murder mysteries. I love murder mysteries. I grew up reading books that were like, for teens, murder mystery books for teens. And You know, I'm always excited to see a good whodunit. But the way this whodunit was orchestrated was each week they presented suspects, and then the following week they would prove that that suspect was innocent. They did it all the way up to the last week. And then in that the episode on Friday, the one just before the reveal, Jan mentioned that she had been violated. I later found out it was by Nicole's father. And I said, why would they even bring that up unless that was important? And so I said, oh, we went through weeks of other suspects, everybody trying to look guilty until they're proven innocent. And then in the very last episode before the reveal, they come out of left field with Jan. Now, there were some people when the story first started that said that Jan Spears did it. I said, Jan Spears not even a promo. Jan Spears only woke up a couple weeks ago. We've been going through this for like a month or two. But like 2 months. And now at the very end of the story, suddenly Jan is the one who did it. You know, this is not a whodunit you could follow. They should have had still about 6 people that could have done it. And if Jan was going to be the culprit, I wouldn't even put Jan in a coma. I would have had Jan as running around Salem, you know, made that deal with Belle about John before Charlie was taken care of, and that we could see Jan mention early in the story that Jan had been violated, you know, mention the button early in the story about, you know, as a clue. These could have been things that people could have picked up on and followed. A lot of people who thought Jan did it because there were early spoilers that said that Jan did it. So that's, people didn't figure it out. It was rumored way back when. I heard the rumors, I read the rumors, but I was like, Jan's not even on the show. You know, but Jan did it. I'm like, and I just kept saying, that's going to be really bad writing if they make Jan do it. And it's a person who's easy to get rid of. So that's it. I want to know what you think in the comment sections about Jan being the person who got rid of Charlie. What do you think about her motivation for doing it? I guess you could say she was trying to set up Belle while protecting Claire. Because she did mention that she was telling Claire to be with Charlie, not knowing what he was capable of. So she made... And I really wish that instead of making Jan so focused on Belle and Sean, that they really took more time to build up the relationship between Claire and Jan. I remember when the story first started, they spent a lot of time saying, don't say the word crazy. That was a trigger for Jan, and that was a trigger for Claire, being called crazy because they had mental illnesses, was in a mental institution. You know, I wish that they had built a bond. Jan could still have like gone after Sean or something like that, but I really wish that they were much closer friends, so that even when they confronted each other in that hospital and Claire called her crazy, that could have been a moment. Like, that could have been like a real moment if Claire in that moment realized that Jan really was using her and still obsessed with her father, which meant that I wouldn't have done the wedding switch at all, because even Jan didn't have a marriage license. Even Jan knew that she couldn't really marry Sean, so none of that made sense, you know. So and just putting Belle in Philip's bed or whatever, that's not enough to break up the relationship. I believe that it would have been better if well, if I wrote the story, it would have been everything would have been different. But we got what we got, and I don't want to spend too much time being negative about Days of Our Lives and how I wish the story was written a little differently, because overall, I love the show. I love most of the actors and the characters. And of the storylines, I like most of the stories. But I've never watched a soap where I liked every character and I liked every storyline. And now that Days of Our Lives is up for renewal, and we're just sitting here waiting to figure out if the show's going to get renewed or not, I would much rather have a show where I love most of the characters and the storylines than having a show that doesn't exist anymore. So there may be things you don't like about Days of Our Lives, but if you don't watch it, you know, if you really hate it that much, don't watch it. The ratings go down, they switch writers, or unfortunately the show will get canceled. None of us wants that. So instead, if you want Sarah back, you know, don't try to get rid of the writer, because I'm sure he probably has plans for Sarah. So make sure you don't put that negativity in the air, because you're going to be wishing, whether Sarah was on the show or not, that it was on, because you'll be missing Marlene and John and the rest of them, even Crazy Kristen. So we've lost too many soaps. So let's try to put some positive in the air. So that's why I don't want to end on a negative note of like, Jan did it. I want to end on saying let's think positive, and let's send good information out there so that we can have our opinions, but also make sure we put some positive things out there about the show. This is not the time to be a negative person when we all want the show renewed. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Let me know in the comment section what you think.